Hello and welcome to Club 100's race day coverage from round 4 of our Clubman Sprint Championship at the picturesque Whilton Mill Karting Circuit in Northamptonshire. We have 2 heats, a championship scoring pre-final and a trophy final coming up. Clubman class is our second invitational championship, the second step on our stairway of talent as it were, for drivers who have competed to a high level but are not yet ready to step up to Premier class. In terms of the 2015 championship, after 3 rounds, Danny Hurlock has a narrow 7-point lead over Oliver Knights. Oliver, who won both finals at the opening round in the wind, rain and darkness of Buckmore Park in February. Sam Fisher started his season at Ella Park with a win comfortably in the main final, and he's back in the field today. But there's 10 drivers all able and willing to win, gunning for Hurlock after his dominant home track double at the last round at Red Lodge. Round 4 will be made up of 4 races. The Heat 1 grid is generated randomly. Heat 2 will be its reverse. Points from the heat set the grid for the pre-final, and a driver's fastest lap times set the grid positions for the main trophy final. Both finals count towards the championship. The driver with the best 16 results from the season's 22 finals will be crowned 2015 Clubman Sprint Champion. So to Heat 1, in pole position, Simon Young dropping in from Premier class. Ed Barr's on the front row with him. On row 2, Sam Browning and Rihanna Percox. Stuart Osborne and Tyler May start on row 3. Miguel Hall, Steve Townsend on row 4. Sam Fisher, the Ella Park winner, on row 5 with Mike Bodner. Russell Endine starts on row 6 with Miles Sharman. It's a grid of 24, looking for that red light, looking for it to change to green. Coming through the final corner, the boot complex, the last corner. It's green and we're racing at Whilton Mill into turn 1, and it's Young ahead of Sam Browning. Sweeping through the right-hander, then uphill to Christmas corner. Briefly on board with the distinctive yellow gloves of James Browning. Up to Christmas. Rihanna Percox holding off Tyler Mays. Sam Fisher and Stuart Osborne on board here with David Longman. There's been contact at the back of the field. Sweeping through Inkermans, down to Ashby, turn right, then across to Parker. On board with Russell Endine. Looking at the back of Steve Townsend. Behind him Andy Cowell, and there's contact. Cowell onto Endine into Steve Townsend. And Townsend's gone around and is parked on the outside of Parker. Andy Cowell, I can tell you already, has picked up a penalty for that incident. Avoidable contact. Sweeping out to finish lap 1. And it's Simon Young leading by 0.2 of a second on Sam Browning. Russell Endine forcing a pass there on Oliver Knights. The 2 favourites for the championship. Endine missed the round at Red Lodge. He'd been up front, he'll be up front again when the drop scores comes into play. Rihanna Percox down the inside of Edward Bars. For third, Endine's gone down the inside of Oscar Cook. Miguel Hall turned around at Christmas. Now he had James Small behind him, and I do believe Small is going to pick up a penalty as well. So down they come to Chapman's. It's Young, Browning, Percox, Ed Bars, Tyler May, Stuart Osborne, Sam Fisher at the back of this leading group. Back on board with Endine, moving onto the bumper of Miles Sharman. Gets his wheels inside. Conscious of a bit too much contact there, and Oscar Cook's jumped through. Back with Longman, crossing start finish, penalty board out there, 2 and 8. That's James Small and Andy Cowell who've picked up penalties. Sharman getting shuffled down the line, back on board with Longman, looking to the inside of Oliver Knights, can't get it done. Knights goes narrow into Christmas, keeps the position. Endine looking for a way past Oscar Cook, down at Ashby, not close enough. Bodner pulls out from the line but then goes back in. Knights is going to be forced to try and tip over the top into Parker, and Longman's not going to let him back in on Endine's bumper. Oh, Sam Browning made a mess of the exit of Chapman's. Under pressure now from Percox into the boot section. And she's through to second. And behind, Sam Fisher has overtaken Stuart Osborne. So Fisher moves up to 6th. Percox up to 2nd. No progress being made by Daniel Truman. Shuffled out of it by Miles Sharman, Mike Bodner. Here comes Chris Brown. Justin Buck round the outside. So sliding down the field for Daniel. Tyler Mays. Distinctive pause. Up to Christmas, and Danny Hurlock trying to find a way past James Browning. That's quite a way down the field. The important thing here is not about where you finish, but it's making progress from your grid position. More overtakes you can do, the better. Obviously, the converse is also true. You don't want to go backwards because it will affect your grid position for the pre-final. Out front then, Simon Young clear of Percox, Browning, Mays. Sam Fisher up the inside of Ed Bars into the boot section. Stuart Osborne might have the crisscross on to go through to 6th place. Justin Buck holding off Daniel Truman. Once again, Danny Hurlock's tried to pass James Browning and failed. Adam Nakar goes through. So James Small on the bumper of Ed Bars, running with a penalty. Behind him, Andy Cowell has been excluded from the result as a consequence of his driving. A lot of runoff on the exit of Ashby. It's been extended. Used to be a muddy hole there due to the people running off. Russell Endine passes Oscar Cook to move back into 10th place. Cook doesn't want to give it up though, is looking to the inside in the boot. Endine's got it covered. Oliver Knights comes back into play and we're back on board with David Longman down in 13th. Oscar Cook runs wide. Chance for Longman to pass, but it'll be around the outside into turn 1. That would be brave. You can go too wide through turn 1, but it's not advisable, certainly not without cooperation. Up to Christmas corner. This is classic Whilton Mill, overtaking opportunity, can't get it done though. Cook goes in deep but manages to hold his line on the exit. Chris Brown to the inside of Longman for 13th, side pod to side pod. I think Chris Brown could have got away with that one. He's waved him back through for fear of a penalty. It's just not worth taking the chance. Battle for 10th place continues. Russell Endine holding off Oliver Knights. Ed Bars under a lot of pressure here from James Small. On board with Andy Cowell in 9th. Small looks to the inside of the last corner. Not really a passing opportunity, unless the driver's made a mistake in the corner preceding it. As you saw there, Miles Sharman getting his exit wrong. Oliver Knights rubbing his nose across the back of Russell Endine. Oh, Andy Cowell to the inside of James Small at Christmas. That was late and hard. Oh, side by side through the kink. He moves on and through. Little puff of smoke there. Little lock up on the brakes. His next target is Ed Bars. Andy Cowell running in 8th place. Bodner trying to run down David Longman. That would be for 14th place. Bodner started on grid 10, so it's something of a recovery drive for Mike. Your race leader, starting his final lap, Simon Young. Rihanna Percox clear in 2nd of Sam Browning. Tyler Mays under pressure from Sam Fisher. Back on board with Russell Endine. Looking at the back of Oliver Knights. Knights ahead. Can he close in and pass? It's from a long way back into Christmas. But he's through. That could easily have ended in tears. Well, Cowell looking to the inside of Bars into Parker. Will he throw one down the inside into Chapman? He's almost through. Bars tries to give him a little bit of room, so they both get through. And he'll probably lose out here as James Small is hard on the bumper of Andy Cowell. Your race winner for Heat 1, Simon Young, lights to flag. Ahead of Rihanna Percox and Sam Browning. Three-quarters of an hour have passed, and we're on to Heat 2 of the Clubman class. This is the reverse of the Heat 1 grid, so in pole position, Andrew Bonjour. On the front row with him, Justin Buck. On row 2, Chris Brown and James Browning. On row 3, championship leader Danny Hurlock and Daniel Truman. Second in the championship, Oliver Knights with Adam Nakar on row 4, David Longman and Andrew Cowell on row 5. 24 drivers, all shooting for victory, only one of them's allowed. And they're coming into the final corner now. Pace car trying to slow them down. Control of the pace passes to Andrew Bonjour on the front row. Sounds French, but his family is of Italian extraction, and he's got the whole shot. And Chris Brown and Danny Hurlock have got ahead of Justin Buck into turn 1 as they shoot off right and then uphill to Christmas Corner. Rihanna Percox behind Steve Townsend and Miles Sharman. Brown to the inside, all crossed up on the brakes on Bonjour, but he's through. And Danny Hurlock's got to run round the outside of the King. It's a bit busy back here. Briefly back on board with Percox. Down into Ashby, and Hurlock is through to second place. Justin Buck trying to go with him, but I don't think he'll make that work. Oh, and the luckless Steve Townsend is run off the road this time at Ashby. Doesn't even get to Parker, but at least he's still running. Down into Chapman's. Still not quite settled. It's Brown from Hurlock, from Andrew Bonjour, Justin Buck, Oliver Knights, James Browning ahead of Russell Endine. Oh, and Rihanna Percox run out wide. Losing places, falling to the back of the field. Glorious sunshine. Not as warm as it looks, it was a little bit chilly. David Longman on the bumper of Andy Cowell, who goes narrow into Christmas. This is the fight for 11th place. Oh, Cowell went in so deep and his line's all over the place. Now Longman's going to go round the outside and he gets shown. No space at all from Andy Cowell. Room to race is what we try and encourage. None being shown there. James Browning down the inside of Oliver Knights. I think we probably missed something here. It seems to have all kicked off. Russell Endine trying to find a way past James Browning once again as he holds off Oliver Knights. Oscar Cook. Daniel Truman now in the mix. He's by Oscar Cook. Whoa, and that's a fairly heavy one. And he's led him back through. And Oliver Knights has jumped in. And I think that happened to Russell Endine in the first heat as well. Back on board with Longman. Whoa, and he's giving Andy Cowell no quarter at all. And I don't blame him really. What comes around goes around. A chance then for Tyler Mays. Trying to pass Longman. They're all queuing up to go through on him. And Andy Cowell runs Longman out wide. And Tyler Mays is through. Up to 12th place and looking for 11th. Looks over his shoulder to see where Longman, but he's under pressure from James Small, Miles Sharman and Rihanna Percox here. Percox on the wrong side, on board with Tyler Mays. Oh, and Andy Cowell runs Adam Nakar clean out. And I can understand Adam being a little bit upset about that one. That was ambitious from Andy Cowell. I don't know what they're serving at the cafeteria. Apparently it's red meat for Andy Cowell. Now, the eagle-eyed of you will have observed Andrew Bonjour is back in second place ahead of Danny Hurlock. Chris Brown's lead is 1.7 seconds. And Simon Young is waving his arms about. Into turn 1, side by side, Oscar Cook and Tyler Mays. Mays runs out wide and Oscar Cook gets him on the crisscross up to Christmas. Andy Cowell is not going to shoot from a long way back. Oh! But Rihanna Percox is on David Longman, side by side through the kink. The road goes back in her favour. She gives David a little bit of room on the exit. And everybody makes it safely down to Ashby this time. Longman looking to go back through. Oh, it's from a long way back. Oh, there's contact. Tyler Mays off the road. Longman tries to wave Rihanna Percox through, but loses out then to Sam Fisher and Adam Nakar. Everybody's shaking their head at somebody. So coming round to start lap 5. Chris Brown's lead, I can tell you, is still 2 seconds and climbing. Danny Hurlock is looking for a way past Andrew Bonjour. Justin Buck is clear of James Browning. Russell Endine is trying to run down Oliver Knights. He's a long way back. We've seen him come from a long way back before, and here he comes again. And he did that pass on Oliver Knights, as I recall earlier on. So Russell's certainly got the dive bomb worked out for Christmas. Still needs to work on his boot manoeuvre. Miles Sharman down the inside of Andy Cowell. He'll run him out wide. No one's doing Andy Cowell any favours now. Daniel Truman to the inside of Oliver Knights. And he picks up, I think that's about 7th place. Rihanna Percox, Sam Fisher, David Longman trying to use the grass to get past Adam Nakar, 3 wide. On the outside, Andy Cowell. Simon Young sticks his nose in, and I think somebody's basically pulled out the pin on the hand grenade and is tossing it around past the parcel in this group at the back of the field. Rihanna Percox getting a run on Sam Fisher. This move's already done. Just got to think about the exit. Make sure she doesn't lose it. Coming down to Ashby. Simon Young waving back through. Sam Browning. Not happy with his pass. Andy Cowell under pressure from David Longman. These two seem to be attached with a piece of string. Or is it a chain? It's difficult to tell. Simon Young down the inside of Sam Browning. Pointing at the yellow flag. Who's off at the side of the road? Justin Buck has fallen off, and he has fallen off on his own. Chris Brown has a 1.5 second lead over Andrew Bonjour. Danny Hurlock 1.1 seconds behind. Gap then to James Browning, gap to Russell Endine, Daniel Truman, Oliver Knight. The real fight is here, beginning with Miles Sharman in 9th place. Under pressure from Tyler Mays. Shows him the outside. Go on, Tyler, if you want it, but you'll have to work hard. Simon Young pushing David Longman through. Now, can he get by with him? Oh, this means side by side with Cowell, and that's you on the grass off the kink, Simon. Down at Ashby, Tyler Mays still trying to hold off Oscar Cook and keep 10th place. Oh, he's had a wobble off that one. Cook still on the inside. Rihanna badly placed now. She's going to lose ground. Sam Fisher's going to get a run down into Chapman's. 2 by 2. Oh, it's all a bit narrow and all a bit hectic. Adam Nakar back on the grass. 3 wide into the boot doesn't go. Someone has to lift. And I think it's Rihanna Percox lifting for Adam Nakar. Ed Barr's on the outside of Miguel Hall. Now they're finally back in single file. We're on to the final lap. No problems for Chris Brown. He's still got 1.3 seconds on Andrew Bonjour, who's got a similar margin on Danny Hurlock. We're on board with David Longman, looking to the inside of Ed Barrs. This is for 16th place and he's through. But of course it's not really done until you're down at the next braking point. Percox getting a run on Adam Nakar into Ashby. Here comes Simon Young from a long way back. Trying to make a move on Sam Browning, which he completed. He just happens to have taken out Andy Cowell. Simon Young heading for an exclusion. Miguel Hall trying to find a way past Adam Nakar in the closing stages. The final corner now. Chris Brown comes through and wins Heat 2 ahead of Andrew Bonjour. Danny Hurlock, James Browning holds off Russell Endine. Daniel Truman, Oliver Knights, James Small, Miles Sharman and Tyler Mays finishes in 10th. A win and an 11th place from his 2 heats is enough by 1 point to give Chris Brown pole position ahead of Russell Endine. Tyler Mays and Rihanna Percox are tied on points on the second row, and Tyler Mays gets 3rd on the grid due to a faster lap time. Sam Fisher and James Browning on row 3. Danny Hurlock and Oliver Knights join together again on row 4. Andrew Bonjour and Daniel Truman on row 5. 24 karts on the grid. Rolling up now to the beginning of this pre-final. It's a little bit longer. 10-minute final. Expect about 12 laps if we're lucky. This one's for championship points, so this one's important. Chris Brown drops the hammer and he's got a hell of a jump on Russell Endine into turn 1. And Endine can't do anything about Tyler Mays going through the second. And Rihanna Percox is going to go through on the inside well before the kink. Up to Christmas corner. Oh, and Chris Brown goes in deep and it's a bit messy. He's waving his arms about, but that one's on him. Danny Hurlock over the grass, misses out the kink. The back of the field, 2 by 2 by 3. It's all a bit tight, and someone's going to run out wide. It's Miles Sharman. He'll lose half a dozen places on the run across to Parker. Justin Buck and Andy Cowell trying to go round the outside of Adam Nakar and Mike Bodner. Tyler Mays leads, but Chris Brown is looking for a way by into the boot. Not a particularly well executed manoeuvre, and nor is that from Russell Endine. Usually at this point somebody dives up the inside in the last corner. Well, James Browning is too far back to do that. It's Tyler Mays with Chris Brown a little bit wild behind. Rihanna Percox, Russell Endine in 4th. James Browning a further 0.6 of a second. Coming up to Christmas corner, Mays on the defensive, and look how narrow. Chris Brown's prepared to go to get up the inside. It's a block pass, and all it's done is let Rihanna Percox do the pair of them. So Rihanna Percox out in front. Chris Brown under pressure from Mays, Endine, and is bringing the rest of the field up to the front again. On board with David Longman, looking at the back of Oscar Cook. I think that's for about 10th place, that battle. Simon Young looking at the back of James Small, down the inside into Chapman's. Getting on the bumper, getting his elbows out, getting on the bumper of Ed Bars. Danny Hurlock to the inside of James Browning. Side by side. Where's Danny Hurlock doing the crisscross as James Browning runs wide. And through goes Daniel Truman. Side by side, Bars and David Longman just keeps it off the tyres. This one's warming up very quickly. Simon Young getting a good run out of turn 1. Can he throw one up the inside into Christmas? Too far back. He's going to follow Ed Bars. David Longman missed his apex at Christmas. He might be vulnerable down at Ashby. Oliver Knight's on the bumper of Sam Fisher. Actually, that's a change of a position. Sam Fisher's gone through to 5th place. James Browning, Oscar Cook, David Longman, Ed Bars. On board again with David Longman. He had to check up there. He might find himself under pressure himself. Coming in the boot section. Ed Bars is right there, looking for a way by. Simon Young goes for the apex. Well, you heard the contact. But it's pod to pod. I think we can call that fair. Rihanna Percox has got a couple of kart lengths on Chris Brown. He's trying to close. Percox takes a look over his shoulder. There's no way Chris Brown could do it from that far back, and Sam Fisher sends one up the inside of Russell Endine at Christmas to move through to 4th place. And remember, fastest lap times in this final set the grid for the main trophy final. Brown takes a look over his shoulder, sees how much room he's got, preparing to fire one up the inside of Rihanna Percox, I fear. She's conscious of his presence. Coming round to start lap 5. This will be an 11-lap final. Brown in position. Tyler Mays desperate to try and get back into the slipstream, but he's lost the toe. 0.6 of a second down. Percox, she must go narrow. Well, she's able to go for the line. And Brown was awfully close to letting go there and letting one go up the inside. David Longman gets his nose inside of Oscar Cook and sort of nudges his way through. And Simon Young's going to pick off Oscar Cook down to Ashby. Getting on the bumper of David Longman. He's moved up to 10th place. Back up front, and Tyler Mays is closing in. This final's coming back together again. Brown is now on the bumper. If he gets a good run through turn 1, I'm pretty sure he's going to fire one up the inside into Christmas. Looking good. Sweeping in. He's lost a kart length there. Will he get it back on the exit? He's a long way back. On board here with Tyler Mays. Where's Sam Fisher behind us? He can't be too far off. There's Fisher. This is quickly going to turn into a 4-way fight for the lead. Percox, Brown, Mays, Fisher. Chris Brown might need to get on with this one, with Sam Fisher closing on Tyler Mays, and Mays also coming back to him. Into the boot section with Mays. Good lines from the two ahead of him. Flat. Oh yes, definitely flat through the last corner. Sweeping into turn 1, 2. And Brown's got a better run this time. Percox knows he's coming. To the inside, Chris Brown goes for it. She closes the door on him. He's not happy. And this is a chance for Mays to go through. And he is through, and Sam Fisher round the outside. And Brown is down to 4th place. And his chance now may be gone. Needs to get past Sam Fisher pretty quick. Out of Parker. Mays was fairly narrow. He's now in the crosshairs of Sam Fisher, but now over the fight for second, and Russell Endine could get back to this group to make it a 5-way fight. Into the boot section, and Mays runs wide off that first apex. The crisscross on for Fisher. No, Brown's already through. Side by side with Sam Fisher, and here comes Endine, and it's getting a little bit busy here. Endine is forced to lift into turn 1, 2, who's got good drive. Well, they've come out fairly even. Brown on the defensive to hold off Fisher. Now he's back in front of him. Goes a long way into Christmas. He's not on the optimum line through Inkermans. Is this a chance for Fisher down at Ashby? I think it is. Wheels inside, side by side. Fisher gives him just enough room. Across to Parker. A very animated Chris Brown. Ending to the inside of Fisher. And he's through and into 4th place. So a bit of a seesaw going on here. Yellow flag out. Not sure who that's for. But it's allowing Rihanna Percox to move clear. She's 3/10 of a second ahead of Tyler Mays, and he is 8/10, nearly a second ahead of Chris Brown. Could this be Tyler Mays' chance to force a pass and take the win in the pre-final? Closing in up to Christmas. Not close enough to throw one down the inside. Through the kink. Flat through Inkermans, down at Ashby. Tyler had to think about it, wasn't quite there, not quite on. He takes a look over his shoulder. Well, he's got a couple of laps in which to execute a manoeuvre to take the win. Rihanna Percox has got just over, what's that, half a kart length. Into the boot section again. The line is good. Oh, and Tyler Mays has made a mistake there. I wonder if he's run wide. Unfortunately, the camera angle prevents us seeing the front wheels. But he's lost a couple of kart lengths, a few kart lengths. And I think his chance has gone. We're on the penultimate lap of this 11-lap final. So the battle for 12th here. Oscar Cook, Sam Browning, Adam Nakar, and riding on board with Sam's brother James. Nakar, perhaps from a long way back, up to Christmas corner, wheels inside, runs Sam out wide. Hand out there from Oscar Cook, not sure what he's saying. James Browning round the outside. Adam Nakar's got the inside for Ashby though. Side by side, pod to pod, and off the side of the road goes James Browning. Well, it's always a possibility, and look where we are in this final. We're about a lap and a half from the finish, and that's just par for the course. And we've joined in with Andrew Bonjour, I believe. Looking left, looking right. Mike Bodden around the outside. Goes a long way in. Mike's going for that apex. Will he have the run into the last corner? No, the momentum with Andrew Bonjour. So the final lap, we're up at Christmas corner, and I think Rihanna Percox has got just enough now to see her to the finish. Tyler Mays, I don't think, has enough to run her down. The best chance was at Christmas, not close enough, not close enough at Ashby. The passing places get harder and more speculative, and he's not getting any closer. In fact, Chris Brown is moving in for second, down at Chapman's. Gets his wheels inside, leans on him a bit, and it could be 3 wide in the boot section. Mays looks to his right, it's Sam Fisher around the outside of Chris Brown. Will he go for that apex in the toe? Yes, he will. Oh, there's contact with Tyler Mays. They all check up, and Russell Ending might get a run around the outside. It's Brown running through, but winning is Rihanna Percox, her first win in Clubman class in Club 100. It testifies to how competitive Clubman class is that it's taken Sam Fisher setting a new Clubman lap record for Whilton Mill to get pole position, and only by 100th of a second from Chris Brown. Andrew Bonjour and James Small on row 2. Championship leader Danny Hurlock starts on row 3 with Tyler Mays. Daniel Truman and Adam Nakar on row 4. Rihanna Percox, she won the pre-final, but can only manage 9th on the grid with Miguel Hall on grid 10. 24 karts on the grid, covered by only 0.8 of a second. That's how narrow, how tight it is, how competitive and even these karts have been prepared to. Those are the margins that we race to. So here we go then, Sam Fisher controlling the pace. Adela Park, he got out front and no one could touch him. And look at the jump he's got on Chris Brown. The right-hand line has not gone because it's all been stacked up behind Chris Brown. Andrew Bonjour is through the second place. Danny Hurlock off grid 5 is in 3rd. Oh, and now it gets narrow. The squeezes on as they filter through Christmas corner. On board with Andy Cowell here through the kink. Miguel Hall on the grass. Through Inkermans, now down to Ashby. He'll throw one down the inside. Oh, Steve Townsend, he might have been pushed, but he's certainly spun out. Here they come into Chapman's, and it's Fisher from Bonjour, Andrew Brown, Daniel Truman trying to make a move on Oliver Knights. Can he make it stick? Got Adam Nakar and David Longman on his bumper. We're on board with Longman. Truman is through on Oliver Knights. There's the crisscross on for Longman, poking his nose down the inside of Adam Nakar. Through in the last corner. Adam lets him have it. He'll try and come back at him out of the turn 1 complex up to Christmas, I'm sure. Truman leading out Oliver Knights. I think we're going to have more trouble at Christmas. So it's Fisher, Bonjour, Herlock, Brown, James Small, Rihanna Percox on board with Russell Endine. Chasing down Andy Cowell, running in 12th place. Through the King, through Inkermans. Cowell on the defensive. Endine will throw it down the inside. Yeah, that's Russell Endine. Giving Andy Cowell room, and that means Andy Cowell will have the inside. And here comes Justin Buck, forcing the pass through. And he looks as though Russell Endine's going to lose out to Sam Browning as well. Well, you can see Arthur doesn't have got away at the front, and the rest, it's all arms and elbows. Simon Young to the inside of Mike Bodner. Can he get it done? Yes, he can, I think. Bodner around the outside, and he's got momentum down to turn 1. Brave move from Mike Bodner to keep his foot in there. And he's still side by side with Simon Young. Now that is close, fair, hard racing. They gave each other just enough room. David Longman inside of Dan Truman, and that's for 7th place. On board with Russell Endine in 12th, Justin Buck ahead of us. Contact between Hall and Andy Cowell, and Andy Cowell's gone round on the Gia block. Off the kink, down the inside goes Endine as well. Back up front, Fisher, Bonjour, Herlock. It's a 3-way fight for the win. Well, this is not going to be like Ella Park, because it doesn't look as though Sam Fisher is going to drive away from this field. Chris Brown has got slightly detached, as has James Small and Rihanna Percox. And it's a gap to this group: Longman, Truman, Knights, Tyler Mays. And another gap to the Russell Endine group. Tail of the field here, Stuart Osborne trying to make up ground. Oliver Knights is getting a run on Daniel Truman up to Christmas corner. The move is as good as done. It's a question of, can Adam Nakar go up the inside as well? Yes. Truman gets run out of that one. The leading trio. Sweeping across to Parker. Ooh, Miguel Hall trying to get that position back from Justin Buck. Buck's got the line into Parker and stays in 12th place. The field beginning to string out now. Miguel Hall losing a position to Sam Browning. Sam Browning moves up to 13th place, and Danny Herlock is beginning to press on Andrew Bonjour. His debut in Clubman class, probably a local. Herlock looks to the inside up to Christmas, but Bonjour's wise to it, drives down the middle of the road, discourages him. Now you know what happens here. As these two fight, Sam Fisher will just edge clear. It's a couple of kart lengths now. One of them needs to make a decisive move here. Herlock needs to get it down the inside and get on with it, or Sam Fisher is going to edge away to the finish. And I wouldn't discount Chris Brown from joining this duo. And he's toying with him, James Small and Rihanna Percox. Herlock not close enough to throw one up the inside of the toe of the boot, and has lost a kart length. The elastic is beginning to be stretched by Sam Fisher. He was a 1/10 of a second faster on that last lap, 53.946 to a 54.102 from Andrew Bonjour, but he's got more pressing problems. Danny Herlock to the inside of Christmas, side by side. Herlock gives him room into the kink. Close, hard, fair racing there. Endine late and hard down into Christmas. No room on the exit for Tyler Mays. Endine moves into the top 10. And look, Chris Brown has closed onto the bumper. It is a 3-way fight for second place now. And I wouldn't rule out James Small. He's not that far away. Coming through on half distance. Sam Fisher's lead is over a second now. Another 53.9 from him. 0.3 of a second faster than Danny Hurlock. Hurlock is beginning to try and stretch the elastic to Andrew Bonjour as well. Almost lost the toe now. On the brakes, he closes in. Watch it stretch away through the kink. Through Inkermans. Bouncing over the curbs. Chris Brown has a think about going down the inside. I think that was more showing him the nose. See if he could push him into a mistake. Down at Chapman's. And I think Brown is a little bit concerned about the presence of James Small behind. Brown sort of sticks his nose inside at the boot, trying to force a mistake, I think, rather than make a pass. Here comes the chasing pack, side by side, 2 by 2. Simon Young to the inside of Justin Buck. Hopping in the seat, trying to get the revs up. Sam Fisher did a 53.8 on that last lap to a 53.9 from Hurlock and Bonjour. Fastest man on the circuit, though, is James Small in 5th place with a 53.791. Up at Christmas, Tyler Mays under pressure from Sam Browning. This is the fight for 11th place. Russell Endine has cleared off up the road. And you've got Mays, Browning, Young, Buck, Miguel Hall. Miles Sharman was having a look there down the inside of Mike Bodner. Didn't get it done. He's got Oscar Cook and Stuart Osborne on his bumper. There's your race leader coming through. About to start lap 9. Well, this time through, Danny Hurlock has pegged Sam Fisher with a 53.9. Daniel Truman starting to come under pressure from Russell Endine. This is now the battle for 9th place. Getting a run. We've seen Russell be quite impressive on the brakes up to Christmas Corner. You can go a lot deeper than you would otherwise due to be running into the hillside. Miguel Hall to the inside of Mike Bodner. Oh, and Miles Sharman gets that one wrong. Endine down inside of Ashby. Yep, you binned yourself. James Browning going for what is now 18th place. Down the inside of Stuart Osborne at Ashby. Can't get it done. Further forward, Sam Browning losing a position there, I think, to Simon Young and Justin Buck. And Miguel Hall comes through as well. Tyler Mays pulling clear of that group in 11th. We're into the final third of this trophy final. Sam Fisher's lead is 1.5 seconds over Danny Hurlock. Just 0.2 of a second separate Hurlock and Andrew Bonjour in 3rd place. And another 0.2 of a second to Chris Brown. So it's a 3-way fight. And if you include James Small, yeah, I think we can. It's a 4-way fight for the 2 lowest steps of the podium. Hurlock leading out Bonjour, Chris Brown and James Small. Rihanna Percox is going to have to settle for 6th place, but it's a comfortable one ahead of David Longman, Oliver Knights, Russell Endine and Daniel Truman rounding out the top 10. Brown takes a look over his shoulder at James Small. Doesn't have a lot of room to work in. It's fairly narrow and it's certainly one line round the boot section. Simon Young has caught up with Tyler Mays and has got the pass done on the exit of Chapman's. Now into the boot section. Mays on his bumper. Someone going to throw it up the inside. Well, somebody has. Sam Browning running out wide onto the nose of his brother James. Over start finish. I think he just waved him through there, or maybe he was complaining. Up to Christmas Corner, and Simon Young is pulling clear of Tyler Mays, who I think must be struggling. Oh, Justin Buck with a good one down the inside of Christmas. Squares it off on the exit. That's put Miguel Hall on the grass. And it looks as though Mays might lose out to Mike Bodner, if not at Ashby very soon. Oh, Miguel Hall pushed out wide by Oscar Cook. There's just no room given on the exit of Ashby in the later stages. Back up front, well, we've got to ignore Sam Fisher, he's gone now. This is the battle for 2nd place. Danny Hurlock leading out Andrew Bonjour, Chris Brown and James Small on to the final lap. David Longman is going to try and hang on to 7th place ahead of Oliver Knights and Russell Endine. There's always fights through the field, always somebody to race in Club 100. And in covering off Chris Brown up to Christmas corner, Danny Hurlock has been released. Andrew Bonjour once again, a car width narrower on the defensive to hold off Brown and James Small into Ashby. And second place is done and dusted. Danny Hurlock is on the second step. There's just one more step on the podium to decide and 3 drivers to decide it. David Longman under pressure still from Oliver Knights in the fight for 7th place. Ignore Adam Nakar, he's a lap down. Chris Brown covers off James Small in the boot section to release Andrew Bonjour to a debut podium finish and a trophy in Clubman sprints. But it's another win for Sam Fisher, clear of the championship leader who extends his lead, Danny Hurlock in second. It was 7 points coming in, it's now 16 points ahead of Oliver Knights, who can only manage 8th in the main trophy final.
Then winning around number 4 here at Whilton Mill, driver number 9, Sam Fisher.